On most maps, Somaliland doesn't even exist. In the eyes of the international community, Somaliland is still very much a part of Somalia. Yet travel there and see a different perspective, a region that is safe, stable, and autonomous. Is it possible that Somaliland represents a positive change for the future of this region? And if so, isn't that worthy of recognition?
The road has disappeared under a cloud of water. We're going very slow.
Things are happening in Somaliland which are kind of outside of a wider conception of international politics, of recognised states. I mean, technically speaking, from an international relations point of view, the recognised state, the recognised government here is Mogadishu, which is obviously a total joke.
The main problem is most of the international community cannot separate Somaliland from Somalia. And now, if the Somaliland just waits for the South becoming an entity, to unite with the South hastily will be a mistake which we will be committing again. And yes, there will be negotiations along the way sooner or later, but I think for the time being, it's better to be separate entities.
Despite the presence of more than 4,000 African Union peacekeepers, the rebels have steadily tightened their grip over much of southern and central Somalia.
The peace and the stability that Somaliland has is so valuable that that keeps people from, fighting it.
I'm Somaliland, so I want to okay, goodbye.
We're getting in our shared taxi to go to Berbera, and our friend Mohammed, who's been excellent to us, just left, and we've made a new friend already. So looking forward to this trip.
My name is Ahmed Hassan Umar. My nickname is Berberawi. Understand?
Understand.
Berberawi. My number is 44913.
And so, yeah, all the kind of contradictions and paradoxes are what makes Somaliland a very interesting place to be in. going through these processes of state formation, of urbanization, and the kind of contradictions that throws up, and the conflicts of interest and conflicts of ideology and culture might yield some interesting stuff.
Every young guy or every young lady, they dreamed to have a recognition.
International recognition, is that going to happen? Is that not going to happen? Probably not, in the immediate future anyway. It would need the backing of a big international patron, so either the United States or the UK. And the UK would be most likely because of the colonial link. And of course, you know, the territory of Somaliland is British Somaliland. You know, those borders were drawn up by the British, and so that's the link. So it would need the patronage of one of those. But the US, the UK, or the EU says we won't do anything without the African Union signing off on independence, because the fear is that if one region becomes independent, then that opens up a whole Pandora's box of independence claims, ethnic separatism, and all that kind of stuff. So the African Union is very much, these are the borders, we stick to them, and so that's the stalemate. That's the situation.
The US has a lot to lose if Somaliland loses. If Somaliland was the same as Somalia, Ethiopians would have been spending a lot of money for defense. The US would have been worried about pirates, worrying about terrorism. So this peace, which is coming at a cost to the Somalilanders, is in fact costing nothing to the US or to the Europeans.
It's functioning without international recognition. There's a semblance of a democratic process without recognition. There's an economy that's functioning without international recognition. Stuff is coming in, stuff is going out. So we need to improve the institutions, and maybe there will come a point where the level of development or institutional, governmental, economic development will really force the international community to recognise them.
It's been a busy morning. Had to go to the police station to get a permit so that we don't have to take a police escort. So that took a while.
It's a top priority of the Somaliland government to ensure the safety of international tourists. Any potential harm to an outsider would further compromise Somaliland's quest for recognition.
The Somali government in Mogadishu, Sheikh Sharif and his lot, they have international recognition, but that's about it. One of the reasons why things may be more stable here is because the government doesn't have recognition. Some people would argue that in the south you have what would be a Somali state, and this Somali state is recognised by the external powers, UN, EU, US, etc. And so if you control the state in Mogadishu, you have access to all of the resources, the weapons, that come with international recognition. And so therefore the state becomes something to fight over. You have the state, you have the seat at the table, you have the weapons, you have the external finance, right? In Somaliland, no one recognises it. So obviously foreign aid comes into Somaliland, but it's, it doesn't get military aid, and and the kind of aid that it receives is far, is much less than would be received in Mogadishu by a government. And so therefore the state has always been, through the 90s, and still now, has been it's been less powerful because it hasn't had the external recognition, and so it hasn't been something that was really worth fighting over, if you see what I mean.
This car, there is a much sheep, and there's movement in order
Through our friendship with 19-year-old Mohammed, we were beginning to see many different aspects of Somaliland.
Yeah, no smile, right?
No smile.
Ebony and Ivory right there. Yeah. All right, so you too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
A new cultural dynamic is rapidly unfolding. As the country becomes increasingly influenced by globalization, old and new collide, creating contrasts and unique opportunity.
Hey, Amy. Come film here. See?
Your technique is very different than his.
My technique could use some work. Eating pasta with your hands is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it's a new challenge.
The only way that understanding and real friendship and brotherhood and things that will change people's lives, and them changing my life and me changing their life, is by us getting to know each other.
The way society has changed and is developing is more on the kind of the cultural level, because at the moment the party dynamic, no one says it, it's not written in the newspapers, but it's about clan politics.
The clan system is big here, really big. There's some really great things about the clan system, especially from a West Coast, single guy's perspective, where we're all islands. My friends are my family, but that's, but we don't have this tie like the clans do.
Peace was negotiated and kept, and they managed to sort of make basically a business arrangement, which was what it was amongst the kind of the ruling, the elite, over the livestock trade and things like that, was able to keep a peace which has lasted.
This is the best camel in Hargeisa.
No, there are so many, but he is one of the best. If you engage a woman, you must pay 100 camels, and that's you see, that's a traditional. But I think that traditional now and will be offered because the young generation who is coming forward, they don't trust camels as the old people.
It's more of a cultural sort of evolution in Somaliland, a cultural development, which is very interesting to see happen.
I don't carry the woman role as it's perceived here in Somaliland. You have to cover your head every time you go out. I really should probably be wearing a dress, but they tolerate it because I'm a Westerner and obviously a tourist.
In terms of people's attitudes towards gender politics, gender segregation, it's often the younger generation, the students that we have in university, the gender segregation you see in classes is very much self-enforced. It's not an older generation telling a younger generation what to do. It's a younger generation interpreting international politics and international discourses of religion in a very specific way.
70% of the Somaliland population are youngsters. It's very volatile. You cannot have a peace without prosperity, and there's no prosperity in here.
When I am in here, I don't feel that my country is full of opportunity.
The kids who were born in Somaliland 18 years ago are going to the university now. They have not seen what fighting is. They have not seen civil war. When those kids graduate from Somaliland universities, and become unemployed, become underemployed. Or those who are not going to the university, when they graduate from high school and they cannot find a job. That's where the danger lies.
I like to go to abroad to study there because I think if I get that country or EU countries especially, their certificates is much better than, or it's much easier than those in Hargeisa.
And so those people who left a while ago, who set up shop, who made money, a lot of them are coming back.
I'm a Somalilander by birth, and I'm a US citizen by choice. I spent a little over 20 years in the States.
It's such an international society. It's so tied into so many different places in the world from the diaspora.
The problem with someone from African origin in the States, the family's back home. So you are not only taking care of yourself, you have to send, especially Somalis. There's a lot of load waiting for you back home. So you should be sending a lot of money back home.
Like the remittance industry is huge, and it's no coincidence that the biggest kind of local company is Dahabshil, which is the money remittance, money transfer agency.
As a family, it's my own business. Oh, 35, 14 by 35. 150.
Changing money in Somaliland. There's cash everywhere.
$180. One day.
Here's your money. Here's yours. You see?
What is this?
This is our money.
This is ours.
$180.
I'm gonna need a full backpack.
Our people in abroad, they bring this money here when they come here at summertime.
Wow.
Have you ever seen this one before? It's a British bank, United Kingdom. Yeah. Oman, one of the dearest money in the Arabian country. This is United Arab Emirates. You see this 100 dirham, 200 dirham, 100 dirhams. You see this is Djibouti money. Djibouti. You see Saudi Riyal. This is 500 Saudi Riyal, which is equal to $133.
That's a lot of money. I must pay everything in Somaliland cash.
Yeah, in order to remove this. You see?
Right, yeah, I don't want to take this home.
$12.
I don't think it would fit the weight limit on my bag.
$12. You remember $12 per night?
Right, $12. It's confusing. I've got over 1 million shillings, and
if there is
that's a lot. 50,000 shilling is $8. Approximately $8.
You can do
So my room,
50,000. You said 50,000?
2 of these, $16.
$7.4.
You just screwed up my math.
Is that a problem?
That is not a problem.
Yeah.
It's good to have an accounting,
Like that.
Somali accounting friend.
Yeah.
Very
Thank
important.
you.
Very important.
Hi, welcome to Adna Hospital. We are on our way going to see Adna. Welcome. It contains Adna University, which is upstairs. It has nursing students, which I think this one's about 200, but close to 1,000 students who graduate who have RN, registered nurse.
It's only after you retire that you really can do what you can do what your heart tells you to do. After I retired, I built this hospital. The most important work that we do is training health workers, because that is the gift, the real gift that I wish to leave my people.
On some good stuff, they work. Yeah, smart with a camera.
I want a team of people, of young men and women, and some not so young, who have been trained to the best of our ability and who will be able to look after the sick with the skills and the knowledge that is required, and with the respect of human dignity that is very basic to human care.
It's much better to invest on a human being than investing on anything else. Because sooner or later we're going to die. And I'm not young, I'm 51 years old, so for the rest of my life I want to contribute to the community as much as I can. I've been in Hargeisa for the past 7 years. And this hotel and this property belongs to my late dad and uncle, but I'm the one who developed it from ground zero. I could not boil water for tea when I went to the States. I was 19 years old. It was really a disaster. And I hope my younger brothers will not go through the same thing I went through. I would rather teach them in here everything that they need to learn. So once they go there, they will know the expectations. And because I really think I have a lot to teach them, the younger generations. It's not only the people who are working for me. I mean, there are a lot of youngsters I am paying for their schools. They are from extremely poor families. So instead of them dropping out, I try to raise funds for them. And I think I'm bringing the best back from the States and teaching them in here.
The face of humanitarianism, and especially in Africa, needs to shift to really long-term things. It's easy to come into a place and say, I'm going to give 6 months of my life to something, or a year to my life, or 2 years, or whatever, and then leaves. It's about investing in community. Well, let's say you want to build schools. Okay, well that's great. I mean, it costs money, and that is something that's a necessity. But what's the point if you're not going to set anything up to make sure that they can be staffed, and that there's curriculum, and that there's books and things like that? Around here, there's a lot of buildings that are empty because people built the schools. They did the mandate of what their project was, and they moved on.
It's not the bricks, the walls, the machines, or whatever that has gone into this hospital, to building it and running it, but it's the skills we teach our nurses and our midwives. It encourages others, it frightens some think that I'm doing it because somebody's paying me to do it, and I feel that yes, somebody is paying me. Upstairs, the bank is overflowing. So the bank down here is empty. Certainly the bank upstairs is overflowing. So yes, I am being paid.
Nobody ever said mapmaking would be easy, especially in unrecognized territory. However, the individuals we met in Somaliland taught us that no challenge is too big for the willing action taker. As we aim to evolve, we look forward and recognize these new leaders of change.
I feel very blessed. I feel that it is, I feel very privileged to be able to do what I'm doing.
I have more in life now to live for than when I was in the States.
I mean, you can't go anywhere if you're not walking, right? So I've got to have an expectation of moving forward, looking for opportunities.
Life is doing. Life is facing challenges. Life is being alive.
Do I think humanity is evolving? Yes, I think humanity is evolving. I think it is evolving in ways which, in many ways, transcend the traditional politics of international politics, of statehood, of borders, of boundaries.
Dream big.
In the reality of it is, no, I want to know that I've done something with my life that's worthwhile.
Somaliland, danaheeda guud iyo isku duubnideede. Waxaan doonayaa koox kastaba Somaliland, danaheeda guud iyo isku duubnideede. Waxaan doonayaa koox kastaba Somaliland, danaheeda guud iyo isku duubnideede. Waxaan doonayaa koox kastaba Somaliland, danaheeda guud iyo isku duubnideede.